I never thought I'd be writing about this, but I need to get it off my chest. My girlfriend and I have been together for about 8 months. We're both 25, fresh out of grad school, and trying to figure out life together. Everything was going smoothly until last month when things started to get complicated. From the beginning, she was always more adventurous than me in pretty much everything, from trying exotic foods to planning spontaneous weekend trips. I'm more of a planner, someone who likes routines and predictability. Despite these differences, we balanced each other well. She pushed me out of my comfort zone sometimes, and I helped ground her when needed. About 3 months into our relationship, she suggested we try new things together. She proposed going to social gatherings where couples meet and hang out. I was hesitant but agreed to give it a try. We went to a couple of garden parties, which turned out to be pretty normal social events. We met some interesting people there, including another couple, Asher and Maya, who seemed nice enough. We started hanging out with them occasionally, grabbing coffee or dinner. My girlfriend really enjoyed their company and wanted to spend more time with them. I was okay with having new friends, though something felt off about how eager she was to meet them. Then came the conversation that changed everything. She called me one evening, and I could tell something was weighing on her mind. She started by saying she felt unsatisfied with our relationship. That hit me hard. I thought things were going well between us. When I asked what she meant, she explained that she wanted us to be more open to new experiences as a couple. I tried to understand what she meant by open. As she explained further, it became clear that she wanted us to explore relationships with other couples, including Asher and Maya. She suggested starting with casual flirting and maybe some party games, eventually leading to more. The whole idea made me uncomfortable, but I listened to her out of respect. I asked if there were other ways we could make things more exciting, maybe trying new activities together or planning more adventurous dates. But she seemed fixated on this one particular path. She started getting frustrated when I expressed my discomfort, saying I wasn't being open-minded enough and that I should at least try before deciding it wasn't for me. The conversation got more heated as she kept pushing. She said I wasn't willing to compromise, even though she had been settling for a more traditional relationship all this time. That really stung. I didn't understand how standing firm on something as fundamental as monogamy was seen as being uncompromising. We ended that call on an awkward note, with her saying she needed time to think. But over the next few days, she kept texting me about it. She suggested we make lists of what we were each comfortable with, thinking maybe we could find some middle ground. It seemed like a reasonable approach, so I agreed. When we shared our list, things only got worse. I had marked pretty much everything involving other people as a hard no. I was open to trying new things together, just the two of us, but that didn't seem to interest her much. Her response was particularly telling. I guess this is what it is. I'm the one losing out here. You get to keep everything you want, but I don't get anything. That comment bothered me for days. She made it sound like I was being selfish for having boundaries. What really got to me was when she said she would suppress her desires and keep them in her head, like she was doing me some huge favor. She even suggested that I should feel bad about making her give up these things she wanted to try. The more we talked about it, the clearer it became that this wasn't just about trying new things. This was about fundamentally different views on relationships. She kept saying things like, "It needs to be spontaneous," and "I want you to want it too." But I couldn't just change my feelings about something this important. One evening, after another tense phone call where she again brought up how much she was sacrificing for me, I finally snapped. I told her that she was making me feel guilty for having perfectly normal boundaries, and that wasn't fair. I mentioned how her constant pressure was giving me anxiety about our relationship. Instead of acknowledging my feelings, she turned it around again. What about me? What about all the things I'm giving up? That night, she sent me a flood of messages. She wanted me to feel more remorseful about making her suppress her desires. She said I should appreciate her more for staying monogamous for the sake of our relationship. Reading those messages, something clicked in my mind. This wasn't just about different preferences anymore. This was becoming emotional manipulation. I spent that night tossing and turning, thinking about everything. Sure, I cared about her deeply, but the way she kept trying to break down my boundaries was really opening my eyes. If our situations were reversed, and I was constantly pressuring her to do something she wasn't comfortable with, wouldn't that be considered wrong? The next morning, I woke up to more messages from her, each one trying to convince me that I was the one being unreasonable. She even suggested that our relationship would eventually fail if I didn't open my mind to her suggestions. That was the final straw. I realized that no matter how much I cared about her, this wasn't going to work. I sent her a message asking to talk. She immediately responded, saying if I was planning to break up with her, I should just say it over text. I thought about it and decided she was right. Maybe a clean break would be better. So I wrote out a message explaining that while I cared about her, our fundamental differences in what we wanted from a relationship meant we needed to go our separate ways. Her response was unexpected. She completely changed her tone, saying it was all a big misunderstanding and that she was sorry for pushing me. She insisted she was happy with our relationship and would never do anything to hurt me. But I knew better now. These weren't just passing thoughts she was having. She had been bringing up these ideas since the early days of our relationship. On our final phone call, she was crying, which made things harder. But I stood my ground. I thanked her for the good times we had shared and told her that sometimes being incompatible doesn't mean either person is wrong. It just means we want different things. We still have some loose ends to tie up. We had planned a trip together, and she has some stuff at my place that she needs to pick up. We agreed to give each other space for a while before dealing with these practical matters. I know seeing her again will be tough, and I'll need to stay strong to avoid falling back into the same cycle. Looking back, I realized that while 8 months isn't a very long time, it was long enough to learn some important lessons about relationships. Having different interests is one thing, but having different values about something as fundamental as monogamy isn't something that can be compromised on. I've also learned that someone trying to make you feel guilty about your boundaries is a serious red flag. It still hurts, and I know it will for a while. But I also know I made the right decision. Sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that are best for us in the long run. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I do know that I'm better off being single than being with someone who doesn't respect my boundaries or tries to make me feel guilty about them. I'm sharing this story because I think it might help others who find themselves in similar situations. It's okay to have boundaries, and it's okay to stand by them, even when someone you care about tries to push against them. Your comfort and values matter just as much as anyone else's.